children of the night, what music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brain.
Well, hello there. Just like your scorching case of herpes, Final Guys has flared up again for our weekly show. This week we're here to talk about Haunt with Hunter Shea.
I'm going to go from rags to riches.
Wow.
I'm the big, scary ragu.
And Jack Campisi.
I think I'm flaring up.
That's why I won't kiss you today.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm probably going to regret making that crack. I can already feel
sure
it.
Will.
Haunter Shea.
I like it.
So this ought to be a lively discussion since only 2 out of the 3 of us have seen it. So we'll see. We'll see how this.
I have a reason. I fell asleep.
It's on account of you being old.
Probably.
Yeah.
I had pretty much wrecked myself the day before, and it was the hangover that just kept on giving.
You watched
stop
like
today.
75 movies this week.
I know.
Except the one that you were supposed to watch.
Yes.
It's fitting. That's fitting. I barely squeezed 3 movies. Actually, I didn't because I banked 2 because I knew I was going to be gone on vacation all week. So still got 3 ready to go. But before we get into our news, any personal news going on? Any books coming out? How's the Monster Men Halloween season?
You want to start it, Jack?
We got a Monster Man out there right now where we drink and eat disgusting things, so you should check it out because that's always pretty funny. And then we'll have another Halloween episode coming out probably next week.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't get to watch the drinking one yet. It's always my favorite one. I'm trying to sit down so I can savor your reactions.
You know, not everything was good.
Zombie Skittles.
Zombie Skittles, really?
Oh, yeah. There were zombie Skittles. Today's a huge day. Silver Shamrock Publishing just put out Midnight in the Graveyard, which is a ghost anthology, which I'm in. By the way, so is Mr. Terrible Movie Taste, Tim Meyer.
Oh, God.
And we're right alongside Robert McCammon is in there with us, along with Keelan Patrick Burke.
Wow. Some big hitters in there.
Big. Yeah, this is huge. So, and this is for anybody who liked my Jessica Bachman books. Her and Eddie are back in the story here. So this is the bridge to get you to the next book.
Oh, God damn it. I have to get it. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, the amazing thing is, it's understandable when you forget, but that I forget the author is even worse.
I'm not even going to get into what it is for everybody. You'll just have to wait for the surprise.
Yes,
so,
please,
whose teat did you have to fondle to get into that one?
You know what? I was approached, and I said, "Hell yeah!" And I had to come up with. They wanted to get like that kind of like old Tales from the Crypt kind of vibe, and I said, "You know, if I'm going to do a ghost story, why don't I bring out my ghost girl out of mothballs?" So
awesome.
It's very
What's
cool.
The name of it again?
Midnight in the Graveyard. So right now you can get it as an ebook, and then print is coming, I think, within the week.
What's the name of your story?
Drown. Drowning pool.
Very nice. Go grab it, people. Yeah. I got to get that. That sounds really cool.
Dude, just to have my name in a book right next to Robert McCammon was enough. I'm pretty much ready to just quit this whole stupid business.
Oh, please.
It's not going to get any better.
You've peaked.
Yeah.
All right. Drinking rules. Hit me.
All right. Drinking rules. Every week we get drinking rules from our dude Sheridan, who exists in a bunker somewhere under NORAD. He's literally below NORAD. So this is the words. When you say these words, you got to drink. So Jack, your words tonight are watch, cop, and friends. Mine are Roth, house, and party, which I'll say right now, Roth house party.
Mm-hmm.
Jason
David Lee Roth house party?
Wow. Jason, you're a budget Halloween slasher. Well, I think that's a review for the movie right there. And bonus, if any of us say haunted clown or camp, you all must take a drink.
Oh, that covers it all.
And we're done.
Okay. Actually, that is a pretty good review. Budget Halloween slasher. kind of sums up what I'm going to say.
That's the synopsis.
I think I'm glad I fell asleep.
All right, we ready to jump into a little bit of terrible horror news that will depress us?
It's not too bad this week.
Yay.
It shouldn't be. It's spooky season.
Okay, so at New York Comic Con, Sam Raimi was there. And somebody asked him about the future of the Evil Dead because
Ash.
what's his name? Bruce Campbell retired from the role of Ash. And they asked him if there's going to be any more Evil Dead movies or anything. And he said, there is more Evil Dead coming. So he's going to make another movie. I don't know if he's going to get Bruce Campbell out of retirement or not, but Bruce Campbell is going to at least participate as a producer. And we'll see whether it's a continuation of the TV series or if it picks up on that remake movie or if it's something completely different. But I think when you have a brand name as strong as Evil Dead, it's not going to stay dead.
Yeah, and it's such a simple concept. I mean, you could do it with different characters. I liked the remake, so I wouldn't be opposed to seeing more of that.
I smell prequel.
God, don't say the P word.
I smell prequel. I see a lot of time spent in S-Mart.
I wouldn't mind seeing them do something without Ash and take it in a new direction. I don't think you have to have Ash. I mean, that was great, but maybe you could think of something new now.
How about the movie in the point of view of the raping trees?
Yeah. I think you need to keep it funny, though, like the TV show. It was a good balance of raping trees and humor.
That was the best part of that. When we first saw that in the theater, people erupted when that happened.
Because there's not really much humor in the remake.
No. But I thought it worked. I mean, I dug it.
Did you see the TV series?
I only saw the first season. Maybe I saw the second season. I can't remember, but I didn't finish it. I need to.
It was great.
I loved it. It's one of those shows that when the season ends, I forget when the next one comes out, and I just never get around to it because I'm not smart.
Yeah.
Ash's head in a cadaver's anal cavity. That's all you need to know about that.
I will hunt that down.
But who knows? We'll see. Speaking of more in a series, Danielle Harris and what's this other guy's name? Adam Green have said that there are going to be 2 more Hatchet sequels.
God, that last one should have been a stake in the heart.
I think I've only seen the first Hatchet
one just recently, and I liked it.
I've seen them all.
And I don't know where it's going, but they said, where's the damn quote? If there is a Hatchet 5, Victor Crowley will be leaving the swamp.
There we go. I hope he goes to Manhattan.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is he going to Manhattan?
That would be cool.
Or space?
It is the Friday the 13th for another generation. If he keeps this rolling, it will be that.
Do many people watch it? I don't know how popular Hatchet movies are.
Enough to make 5, I guess.
He does these completely on his own, doesn't he? So he must be making enough to, keep the lights on, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, you're getting Kane Hodder work. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything resembling another horror icon in the Freddy Jason Pinhead mold, they will, they hit the jackpot with this new Pennywise. If they're few and far between where they really stick in the consciousness of the public. So Hatchet, that Victor Crowley is just kind of, he's not really there, but he's close as many have come.
Yeah, he's there enough. He's not maybe mainstream there, but he's horror lovers.
If you're at Chiller Theater, everybody knows who he is.
Like I said, I've only seen the first one. I haven't heard the best about some of the sequels, particularly from you. But as I'm going through these old series, it's not like these were amazing movies.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It kind of follows the blueprint.
You have a good one and then just a bunch of shit afterwards that keeps making money.
Yeah. And if you're Friday the 13th, to throw a good one every now and then.
Final piece of news is along the same vein. There is currently filming a reboot of the Wrong Turn movie.
The first one?
Yeah. Well,
When the first one
They're
was
rebooting the
Elijah
series.
Dushku.
Elijah Dushku, yeah, whatever. Matthew Modine and Damien Maffei.
Sounds good.
Who was in Strangers Pray at Night. We all know Matthew Modine, though.
Yes, we do.
So I don't know. I only saw the first
Same.
one, and it wasn't anything that
Well, there's 6. And my wife, there's 6 of them. My wife prefers Wrong Turn 2. But yeah, there are 6. The last one was called Last Resort in 2014.
Holy shit, sick. Oh my God. I was thinking they might have to be coming up on this trek, but now that you told me there's 6, maybe not. That's a lot of
That's
torture.
pretty amazing,
I
right?
liked the first one. It didn't blow my socks off, but, you know, it was a fun, gory movie.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it had Dushku.
Yeah, that's
Do you
what
need to
brought me
reboot
in.
I mean, is there
Yeah.
a continuous storyline in the Wrong Turn series, or is it just hillbillies having sex with people having sex, quote unquote? Did he?
Probably by calling it a reboot. Once you get to like part 7, it's not getting anywhere near a widespread release. If you reboot it, suddenly it'll be
You can get theatrical
on
again.
Netflix and other places. Yeah.
I feel like I have to watch this. I feel like I have to watch them all now.
It's
I
not
don't
like
know
we
why.
don't get to them all for the show at some point anyway.
It's like a Shea
gonna be-
family reunion.
I'll watch the trailer, and if this turns out to be one of the movies of the week, maybe I'll fall asleep instead of watching it.
Exactly.
Probably be a good choice.
The casting, they didn't say any names like, oh, Alexandra Daddario is in it.
Yeah.
Matthew Modine is not going, oh, I need to see that. So
Meanwhile, he's looking at his agent. This is all I get for being in Stranger Things? God damn you.
Oh, God, Matthew Modine.
all right, that's all the news is
All
fit
right,
to
let's
print.
jump into some reviews.
We have such sights to show you.
Because it was a slow week for me, Hunter, how about you go first?
Yeah, go first. Okay. I'm going to talk about a movie that does not get enough play. I don't know if either of you guys saw this. Have you? And it's not too old. It's maybe 5 years old. You guys ever see Frankenstein's
I did.
Army?
The movie that makes no sense for being found footage, yet I thoroughly enjoyed.
Oh my God. I think the creators of Overlord maybe watched this a lot. And they said, yeah, man, that lab thing is really cool with, all these creatures, underground. But let's put a war movie around it. If you liked Overlord, but you said too much war movie, more Mad
Found
Lab.
footage.
Holy cow. I mean, yeah.
So are they just carrying around? I always wondered, are they
yeah,
carrying
these-
around canister reels while they're filming this? Like,
that never run out of power. I know. Because it's a bunch of Russian soldiers who are lost in enemy territory. They think they are, but there's a twist at one point to kind of explain why they're filming everything. But this is basically Victor Frankenstein tangling up with the Nazis, and they give him carte blanche to go make just creatures out of corpses that are part man, part machine. One of my favorites was a huge body with a giant propeller for a head. These are just lumbering.
Sounds like something that kid in Toy Story would have made.
This movie is absolutely crazy, and every time I watch it, it seems to get crazier. It's like a Mad Magazine panel where I'm looking in other places now, and I'm going, "Oh my God, look at that thing going on in the background." So it's just pure fun. It is not going to hurt your brain. It's minutes long, and it's just crazy. It's just some of the craziest creatures you were ever going to imagine. I mean, they're straight from some weird frickin' fever dream, man.
Yep.
I don't want to give too much away. Just Frankenstein's creating things with corpses.
Is that on Prime, or do you know where we can see it?
I bought that on Blu-ray the moment I saw
have
it.
you seen it, Jack?
So I don't know. I'm sure you can find it.
I have not seen it. He told me to watch it, but he doesn't watch enough of the movies I tell him to watch, so screw him. I didn't watch this
There
one.
we go. You can't screw me because you're in
Turn
a
your brain
flare
off, but it's
I'll,
crazy.
I'll find it.
But come on, you got horror, Nazis, zombie things, found footage. I mean, this hits a lot of boxes, man.
The nerd in me, as soon as he picks up the film camera and starts recording, I was like, could film cameras even record audio back then? Like, that's what I was thinking about because I'm an idiot.
It's just the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
It's funny because watch it down. There's a couple of moments where the found footage completely stops. And it's obviously another camera filming that has nothing to do with the camera that's broken. And at one point, the camera breaks and is covered in blood and is completely fixed like a second later.
That makes sense.
That
But
happens
who
in the
cares?
last broadcast.
Mhm.
Remember the last broadcast?
Yeah.
There's like, it's found footage until like the very end, and there's like a scene that's just not found footage.
Yep.
Yeah. Why not?
Just couldn't figure out how to do it.
They'll never notice. They're all smoking that weed while they watch this anyway.
What do you got, Jack?
Well, you idiots. I finally watched The Nun.
Oh, baby. Movie of the year.
I blame my alcoholism on that movie.
I had a DVR'd. And a couple weeks ago, one of you, Jason, it might have been you, I think, just said, like, it's not even
You have
worth
to be
watching.
drunk. That's a full 6-pack movie.
Yeah.
I was drunk and it didn't help. I can't ever recall the ending.
I was not drunk. But it took me like 2 or 3 nights to get through it because I kept turning it on. And then I was either tired or I had to do something. So I watched it and I was like, no. And then I came back and watched it a little bit. So that helped me get through it because I don't think I could have sat start to finish. Look, visually, it is a good looking movie.
Yeah.
It's got kind of a old. It looks like if they were going to make a Hammer movie today, they should get these people to. It's got the good atmosphere. Like they could make a great looking Dracula movie with these people.
It had a budget.
Yeah.
It's all it is one setup after the other for jump scares. The camera moves 3 times, and the third time something appears, or they make you look this.
Not even enjoyable jump scares, though.
Every single thing is just setting up a gag.
Yeah, it looks like they made it so the trailer would be intense.
Yeah. And I've read, everybody's tweeting about horror movies on Twitter because it's Halloween. And I saw some people like talking about how they don't understand how people don't like this movie and stuff. And I was laughing because I was like, this story was ridiculous. I kind of don't even remember what the hell was going on.
I don't.
One thing I'll say is Vera Farmiga's sister, who's the main character in this, has an Adam West like just like her sister, just throws herself into that role 110%.
I don't know if that's necessarily a compliment. You've got the acting chops of Adam West.
No, it's the sincerity. It's the.
No,
That's true. I get it.
Adam West put on a ridiculous Batman costume and just played it 100% straight.
Yeah.
And she can be in whatever situation is, and she is totally 100%.
That's fair. If you can act through that finale fight scene with a straight face, you're giving it your all. When it turns into the X-Men Supernatural versus the Nun stuff.
That had my favorite line in the movie. In fact, we all rolled, all of us fell off our chairs when they someone mentions the Christ, and the guy goes, "You mean Jesus Christ?"
Yeah.
No, Pablo Christ. You fucking moron.
Wasn't that the one that just ripped off the storyline of Demon Knight with the key with Christ's blood in it or something? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly what I thought. I go, wait a minute, that's Demon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's one part where like the main priest guy gets buried alive, but there's a bell.
Yeah.
Like and so he's able to. And I was kind of like, if this entity is able to kill people, why wouldn't it cut the bell? Like,
Dude.
It's like Green Lantern can be stopped by the color yellow. It's just stupid. By the way, speaking of being buried alive, did you see this is real life? Some guy in Ireland he'd been sick for a long time, and they buried on his funeral. He had pre-recorded his voice with the sound of him pounding on the coffin, going, "Hello, hello, it's effing dark in here. Is that the priest I hear? Let me out of here." So they have a recording of them playing that, and everybody at the funeral just laughing.
That's the best thing I've ever heard. That is
This guy's my hero.
That's Ireland. He is.
All right, so 6 thumbs up for The Nun.
So I got The Nun out of the way. Now I got to see what's the other one, La Llorona or whatever.
That's way better.
Oh
than
yeah,
though.
The Curse of La Llorona.
I mean, if you've seen The Nun and you've seen Winchester, you've seen the best this decade has to offer.
I have not seen Winchester yet. Someday.
All right. So based on your recommendation, Jack, I watched a movie I never thought I'd watch, and that was Sleepaway Camp 2: Unhappy Campers.
Nice.
Wow, I really enjoyed this. I'm going through, all these freaking series, and right now, Halloween is killing me. So watching this, which is a series I never would have had interest in, because the first movie it's good, it has a killer ending, not something I revisit often. Wow, I mean, I enjoyed this way more than the original. I think it doesn't have that punch ending, but it's campy, it's fun. There's crazy kills, boobs all over the place. I mean, this movie was made for me.
Boobs all over the place.
Yeah, it's Porky's as his slasher film.
It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's not completely stupid with some of the stuff. It's not. We're not watching an Agatha Christie, script here, but it was fun, and so I got to thank you for this, because this is a series that I definitely would have waited till the end to get into, and now it might be the next series I work my way through, because this was a lot of fun.
Huh. I'm going to watch that. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Did you know there's Summer Camp Massacre from 2017 with Felissa Rose coming back as Angela?
I'm trying to track that down.
It's on Prime.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
What's it called?
Summer Camp Massacre.
I did not know that. I will grab that coming up here.
Is that officially Sleepaway Camp 4?
Yes. Officially, unofficially, but yes.
Okay, because that was the last time I looked for it, I couldn't find it. But maybe I was looking under the wrong title, so I'm going to track that ASAP.
The good reviews say it's funny.
Oh, great. So even though Felissa is not in this, the actress they got was fine. She did a good job. I ended up looking her up, and of course I did it before and not now. What the hell was her name? Pamela Springsteen, who, as far as I know, did Sleepaway Camp 3 and then just, deuces, maybe one other movie, and has been gone since 1990. And that's a shame, because she's a good actress. She did a good job kind of balancing everything. I mean, I love me some Felissa Rose, but this is totally worth it. I mean, for a small budget sequel to a movie I didn't love in the first place, this is hard to beat. So Sleepaway Camp.
It's a lot of fun.
I saw it on Prime, but it might have slipped off there. I'm not sure. You'd have to.
It's still on there. I just checked.
Check out Unhappy Campers. Hunter.
Okay, well, I went back in time in my time capsule, and I said, take me away to sci-fi horror of the 50s. And I pulled out from my shelf Tarantula, or you might call it Tarantula.
Tarantula.
Tarantula. I think I bought this with you, Jack, at Chiller Theater few years ago.
It kind of rings a bell.
So, by the way, why would anyone buy a Blu-ray of a black and white movie? Anyway, that's just a side thought. I mean, they look just as good black and white and Blu-ray or DVD.
I don't know, maybe you remember when Ted Turner was colorizing all these?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That was horrible. This is a movie about a giant spider, believe it or not, in the desert. It starts off with this dude in the desert who's got this messed up face. Turns out he has acromegaly, the thing where your head and your hands and your feet grow because it's a pituitary gland issue.
Oh, is that like Ken Griffey Jr. in the Simpsons softball episode?
Yes, that's it exactly. So, there's this 2 doctors in the desert who are working on their whole thing is the population is growing so fast that there's not going to be enough food to feed everybody. So they have to find a way to make bigger things to eat. So they're taking like mice and making mice the size of like bobcats and stuff like that. I mean, there's some really funny effects.
Why not just make cows bigger?
Well, ultimately, it would come down to that. Why this is getting injected into the people is beyond me. But whatever, one guy gets injected into him, and then he gets crazy and beats the crap out of the doctor, and then all the animals get free, including the tarantula, which starts out about the size of a kiddie pool and grows into the size of like 3 houses.
I'll tell you what, it would be a scary enough movie if they just had tarantulas the size of a kiddie pool.
The size of a cat. No thanks.
So the best part is, first of all, this is directed by Jack Arnold, who did Creature from the Black Lagoon. So the dialogue is great. Sometimes it's got a real noir feeling to it. This is on my Tana Leaves scale. I do 9 Tana Leaves. It's an 8 of 9. This is literally a classic. If you like them, you're going to love Tarantula. But the best part is there are times when they're driving, they're in the desert, man. There's nothing in the desert, not much to hide. And like the car will drive by on this road, and then you'll just see the giant spider like walking into frame. Like, well, there's no way they missed it. They just drove right past it. But it's always fun to see giant things, little things made giant, and then watching people try to blow them up and burn them and find any way to stop them. I feast on this kind of stuff. So I'm loving the old like monster movies, and I've been on this YouTube Roger Corman movie thing right now.
That will take you the rest of your life to watch all his movies.
I know. I did The Wasp Woman, which is excellent, and I'm watching Not of This Earth. I started watching today, and they're only an hour long, so it's perfect. Right.
Or you could watch The Nun in 6 sittings.
You could ruin 6 days.
Or you could watch the show's featured movie. I mean,
Or you could do that if you could stay awake.
What do you got, Jack?
So, I watched a found footage film from 2014 that I had read pretty mediocre reviews of. And so whenever I looked it up to see if I could watch it, it cost money to rent. And I'm like, no, I'm waiting this out. And then it finally found it on, I think, Prime for free. So I pulled the trigger. It's called The Blackwater Vampire.
I've seen this, terrible. But I have zero recollection of it.
Isn't there a Blackwater Bigfoot 2 movie?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to have to look that up.
So there's not a ton of vampires in found footage. There's that one where the guy gets infected. I think it's called Infected. There's that Infected. One that had all the different monsters. I forget what the hell it was called. But there's not too many. So this one, oh my God, the first 2/3 of this movie is a carbon copy of the Blair Witch Project. Except
why not?
There's been somebody has died every 10 years in these woods, the Blackwater, Washington or whatever. And there's a guy on death row charged with the crimes, but this girl running a film crew doesn't think that he's guilty. So they interview him, and then they go into the woods to visit the sites of the murders. And it's almost the same exact thing. They go out into the woods, they have encounters and things like that. They hear things in the tent, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they didn't get sued. For
probably nobody watched it. So, but now you might have blown their cover.
Yeah. Then you get to it takes a turn in kind of the third act when you get to the vampire stuff, and you see the vampire several times, very clearly. If you look on the DVD box, you see its face. So, or the movie poster. Then the movie is worth watching for the last 20 minutes of the movie when all the pandemonium breaks out, and there's some stuff with the local townsfolk and the vampire and this ridiculous ending that made me enjoy it I'm watching a dumb found footage movie.
Right.
So I'm not telling you this is a good movie, but I'm telling you if you feel like watching a silly found footage movie, you can now watch it and not have to pay if you have like
Your
Prime.
description of that does not ring a
All
bell.
right.
I'm wondering if maybe I started it and was just noped out of it because I don't remember any of that.
It would be
Does it
very
make you
easy
wanna
to
see it?
nope out of this movie.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because there is a Blackwater Sasquatch movie that I noped out of about 15 minutes in. So, and is no longer on Prime.
It's hard for me to nope out of a movie. So if I started and it looks like it was made for 6 cents, that's usually, and it's found footage. That's usually when I just pull shoot.
I know.
I didn't get like I wasn't losing my patience with it. I think maybe possibly because the further it went along, I just kept going, wow, this seems really similar to the Blair Witch. Oh my God, this is exactly the Blair Witch Project, except they're like in the snow and they're looking for a
Yeah,
vampire.
I guess I haven't seen that. You said it was on Prime?
It's on Prime, but then the third act, because they got to do all the gags and stuff like that with the vampire and then the found footage movies are all about the ending. Ooh, this was the ending of our movie. So when you get that, you're gonna laugh
All
out
right.
loud. So
Well, I'll put it back on my list. But
and there's some nudity. It's
start adding it right.
Oh,
now.
okay.
All right. So
And-
not as fun. It's not as fun. But when it happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I
All
didn't
right.
expect that.
all right. I watched Sleepaway Camp 3: Teenage Wasteland because I like 2 so much.
Only Teenage Wasteland.
This also is a good movie. This is inexplicable to me that these movies are so much fun. This one's a little goofier, but not terribly so. It works. 2 is to me the high point so far of the 3 I've watched.
It's
But
pretty
it's
goofy.
fun. Like
There's a scene with a garbage truck at the beginning of this movie that's
yeah, It's
awesome.
like, what? It's so inexplicable. I love it. I mean, just the beginning makes no sense. It's nuts, and then it just goes right back into it. So yes, it is very goofy, but not in a way that ruined it like I would have expected. I don't know. Maybe I was in the right frame of mind for these movies.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's
just
fun. Goofy.
man. It's if you like 2, you're gonna like 3. The beginning.
It's everything. It's everything you want. And like when you sit down and watch a horror movie, it's just like dumb fun, good kills, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. But it's not like a spoof
Yeah,
comedy.
that actually is a great description of it. It's ridiculous, but it's not. You're not watching The Naked Gun. It's not that level.
Mhm.
Right.
So if this is still on Prime 2, it's worth it. You got more kills, you got more boobs. It's another fun slasher. And how these flew under my radar for 20 some years blows my mind. 30 years, I guess.
Yeah. I know I saw it, but I can't remember it. But now I have to
Well, things are getting
rectify
interesting
that.
now because I'm trying to hunt down the rest, and they're not easy. I don't know if there's rights issues with some of these or what the deal is. So I don't know. We'll see if I can find them.
Well, I don't want you to feel sad for Pamela Springsteen. She is Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Really?
Sister.
And she is Sean Penn's girlfriend. So I think she doesn't need to act. I think she's fine.
Wow, sister.
What?
She seems a lot younger.
that crazy?
Than him, doesn't she? Maybe not.
Well, she's 57 and he's 70. Isn't he 70, 71? So yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
Isn't that crazy?
Good for her.
So I guess she was like, well, this is all I'm going to do. Fuck this.
She can only kill so many naked
My
teens.
brother's giving me money.
I don't know what surprise. I think dating Sean Penn surprises me more than being Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Well, she's a leftist. She takes those lefties.
Well, good for her then. What you got, Hunter?
Yeah, no, she's doing all right. All right. In the interest of time, I'll go quick. I'm sure everybody here knows about the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Mm-hmm.
This was an old silent film, black and white, naturally. I think it was, released in 1920. Jesus Christ. So this involves Dr. Caligari, who has a somnambulist in his care. And it's a German impressionistic movie. The sets are all weird painting. Like everything is just strange looking and off. There's no like right angles and everything.
Dr. Caligari looks bizarre. Cool movie with almost no scares for a modern day audience. The cool thing here was we saw it in the theater, and the original score, there is no surviving sheet music for the movie originally. So this band from Texas came there, these 4 guys, and they created the soundtrack for it, and they performed it live for the audience.
That's awesome.
That was absolutely awesome, because I've seen this before, and I've seen 2 different interpretations, like very generic music accompanying it. Watching it with them changed the movie entirely. In fact, they made it fun a couple of times, and because they're talking about a sleepwalker, every now and then they threw in that little from Sleepwalk by Santos and Johnny. So it was thoroughly enjoyable. I took my daughter to see it. I don't think she'd ever seen a silent movie before. So if you're going to watch it, that's probably the best way to introduce somebody. Or maybe the worst, because she's going to expect this all the time. But it is considered the first actual horror film ever made.
Really? I didn't know that.
So it's in terms of like a full-length movie, because it's 75, 80 minutes or whatever. So it's considered the first horror movie of all time.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always thought it was Nosferatu, but cool.
Yeah, no, it precedes Nosferatu.
Jack, what you got?
Well, because it's Halloween, I like to go back and watch some of the staples, classics. So I pulled out my Dawn of the Dead box set, and this time I selected the director's cut, which is the director actually says his preferred cut is the theatrical cut, but this is an extended cut of the film. So I think there's 3 different cuts of this. So in this box set, there's this theatrical cut, a Dario Argento cut, which I think is shorter, and then this one, which is longer.
Nude stills of his daughter in
Dario Argento cut.
And then there's which cuts out. I think it says it cuts out anything funny.
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
So I never watched the extended one. So I was like, it's time for this one. Because that's a long movie.
Yeah, all right. It is in the beginning, right off the bat. It's long.
Yeah. So I was wondering because I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but I was wondering if are the extended scenes going to jump out at me, and they did. There's 2 particular places where I noticed. There's one towards the beginning when they're all sort of getting together before they get on the helicopter. That's a little bit longer, and then there's another scene that you could tell why they took it out. It's another scene involving them when they're kind of like living in the mall and dealing with, that little bit of downtime, like right before the 3rd act. That's extended a little bit. That I was like, oh. And I actually think they show the lead actress's boobs in this, and I think in the theatrical cut, it's shadowed. It's like, I don't remember there being boobs in this movie.
No. And trust me, I looked.
Well, come on over.
She's 69 now. Jesus Christ, we're old.
So it was fun to see the extended, but my God, I just love this movie. And watching it again, even though like it's a long movie, it doesn't feel long because it's broken into sections so well. And really the only place where you feel the length is when they're kind of enjoying themselves in the mall for that short amount of time before the finale kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Romero was really nailing what society would be like several weeks, months into a apocalypse like this. We've got the people hiding their loved ones in basements because they don't want, they don't want to give up their dead to the authorities and all that other stuff, and the danger that people and its control of the zombie thing is more controllable out in the country than it is in the cities and all that kind of stuff. Man, it's just he was firing on all cylinders of this movie, and I reinforces this is on my top 5 movies of all horror movies. I just love it.
It's amazing.
Big zombie, really.
Yeah,
I mean that movie rewired our brains when we were little.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. I haven't watched that in a while. I might have to revisit that soon.
Yeah, and you can't find it now. I think somebody owns the rights to it, And
of course.
so like you won't see it on cable anymore, and things like that. So I was lucky
with
I
it or
got
something. He wants too much for the rights, so you just can't find the freaking thing anymore. It's ridiculous. Like the movie's
Dumbass.
40
Yeah,
some years
something
old,
like that,
dude.
so-
Like, how much more money are you think you're gonna make?
Well, as long as Walking Dead's still on the air, I'm sure they think every buck counts.
Well, to follow up the amazingness of Dawn of the Dead, I watched. I'm gonna have to put this in a rotation. It blew me away so much. Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael
Whoa.
Myers. Oh my god!
Surprised you didn't blow your brains away.
This freaking movie, dude. Like, it's obvious when they put the cowboy guy cult dude in the last movie just kind of wandering around that they had no clue what they were going to do, because the shit makes no sense in this movie. This is where we find out Michael Myers is actually supernatural because of the stars' alignment on his birth, and Halloween is when he comes to life to kill. Like, what? I don't know. But the best part of this movie, if you can make it through it, is the last act is so nonsensical that I dare anyone to explain to me what happened. It's obvious that there was some kind of cuts happening, that there was some tinkering that happened before release, because all the main characters are captured at one point, and then all of a sudden two of them are outside and go, I don't get it. Why didn't they kill us? Did they drug us? Yeah, they drugged us. Well, let's go find what's her name. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what just happened? And then they show up at this hospital that's empty but not empty. The bad guy, you find out, who's the cowboy, is like 97 years old, but he killed all these cops in the last movie, and then he's surprised when the heroes make it. Oh my god, it was amazing. It was so nonsensical, I had to look it up. And then I found out there is some producer's cut floating around. So I watched the original theatrical because I don't know if there's any continuity with the next movie. I can't remember. But dear Lord, this is the worst one out of all the series, the 3 series I've watched now: Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. This is the worst one by a freaking mile.
Wow.
This is special. I mean, Loomis's scars are gone. But Michael Myers still has his. The continuity in this. So when I brought this up last week, we got some comments on Twitter from our resident Japanese horror aficionado, Steve, and he was basically saying that, what was it, continuity in slasher films is the death of them, and if that's the way you see it, then this is got to be your number one movie ever, because
I think I warned you last week. This is known as the worst of the
so
bunch.
it doesn't get worse from here. Am I?
No, you've hit bottom.
Is this the one with the jail cell at the
was
end,
the
or is
last
that
one.
the one before this?
Where they had him in the jail cell with his mask on.
Yes.
Yeah. The cowboy
course,
breaks
why
him
not?
out, and then we get this one with the celestial shit. It's just awesome. I mean, this was so bad, I started enjoying it at the end, because I couldn't believe this got released in theaters. It was.
You just gave
amazing.
in, right? I can't fight this anymore.
All right, you guys got anything else?
Nope. Let's get to it.
Time
Nope,
for the
just herpes.
feature.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Oh boy, this ought to be an easy one for you, Jack. How about a little synopsis of Haunt?
There is a new official subgenre in horror known as the haunted house that's really dangerous.
Yep.
Whether it's supernatural or just people trying to kill you. It used to be an occasional movie that did this, and now it's pretty much, there's 2 or 3 of
Do you
these
think
every
Hell
year.
House LLC was the pioneer of this? It had to be up there at the front, right? It was close.
Yeah.
It's
we can always say the Funhouse was the pioneer.
the Funhouse was
Yeah,
was the
I'm just mean the
pioneer
resurgence here.
back in the day. The modern, resurgency. I don't know. Last year though, you had a whole bunch of these.
Hellfest.
I loved Hellfest. I
That makes
loved
one of
that
us.
movie.
So this is a bunch of teenagers on Halloween end up at one of those extreme haunted houses, but the people inside may be trying to kill them. There's your movie.
That's it.
Wow. You know what? I have a feeling if I had stayed awake, I would have fallen asleep anyway.
Well, I'm going to go first and tell you that you would not, because this movie was a hell of a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and this is easily in my top 10 of the year so far. I only had a couple little issues with the entire movie, and
I keep waiting for you to say you're bullshitting me.
He's not bullshitting you. I'll agree with him. It's good. It's a fun little flick, and you blew it.
So whatever. It's because I party harder.
But
listen, you go watch Dr. Caligari.
Yeah, live with the band. That beats this on Prime.
It was.
A good flick.
It's obviously low budget, not a lot of characters, but I'll tell you what, it looks great. The acting is shockingly good. And I mean, I expected a million jump scares in this. It just looks like that kind of movie. Some people go into a haunt, shit's going to be jumping out at you, people are going to be running up behind you trying to scare you. None of that. In fact, it goes completely in the opposite direction, where it's more people staring and you're expecting something that doesn't happen. And I think it just, I hate using this word because of what Star Wars did to it, subverted my expectations. And it gave me an experience I wasn't looking for, and it really worked for me.
It also has an edge to it, and it's got stakes. And so, because it wasn't just like kind of a WB pretty people, not that a lot of the staff, the cast are good-looking people, but they're not distractingly models and stuff like that. There was a grit to this movie. It almost had like Saw without the over the top.
Yep.
But kind of the cousin.
It was
a kissing cousin.
It had an intensity to it, and that's the main reason I liked it. But it didn't. So you see Eli Roth produce this, and your first thought is, "Oh Jesus, here we go." You know. People scooping eyeballs out.
I don't feel as bad about him as people do.
So here's my thing. I don't know why. I think he's a really talented director who ruins a lot of the tension he creates with his filmmaking by making them too insanely gory, too torture porny, and it cheapens what he's doing throughout the rest of the movies. That's always been my issue. It kind of almost Rob Zombie. He kind of does something similar where it's like you're doing good stuff and then you take it too far in one direction, and I just kind of stopped caring about it. So anyway, I don't know how I got on either, but I saw his name and I thought, oh, here we go. And it is intense, and there are some graphic scenes, but you're not watching The Green Inferno here. It's not that kind of movie.
I really like The Green Inferno.
Oh yeah, that scene where the woman has diarrhea in the cage with everyone else. Amazing. It's brilliant.
Oh, get over it.
So
you'd be shitting yourself too.
This movie kind of starts off feeling like it's going to be the formula horror movie, and it actually gets better as it goes. And there's a few things that happen that take it from like, it's not like a mainstream horror movie. It feels like it's going to be, but then it actually turns into a movie that's more for like real horror fans, not kind of the general public.
Yeah.
But yeah, the black t-shirt crowd. And that's what makes it good, because there comes a point where you're like, oh, they're going to have like real kills in this. There's real stakes, and there's some really creepy stuff that happens. And then it doesn't really, it keeps moving, I guess. Like I never got, there's never a point where I'm getting bored of this or whatever. They changed it up enough, but it was more than just the gimmick. So much of these haunted house movies, just the gimmick of being in the haunted house and the scare. So this went a little bit deeper. It's not the deepest movie you're ever going to see. But it's kind of like The Strangers. Is it The Strangers?
Mm-hmm.
Or were the people of the home invasion? Where it's like the brutality of what they're doing, kind of like, like, oh damn!
So you nailed it. The simplicity of this is its strength, and it gives you just enough beyond its simple premise that you know there's something else going on at times that keeps you more interested maybe than the premise would typically make you. But going from watching the Halloween series that I'm going through right now, where they're overcomplicating the crap out of everything to a degree that nothing makes sense, this is the exact opposite.
Right.
They give you just enough, and it keeps the movie going, and you like it, and it's not all convoluted and dumb. And to what you were saying about this being for horror fans, watching most of the movie, I was wondering why it didn't get released in theaters, because it's really well made, and it looks like a movie with more money behind it than it probably does. But as it goes on and you see more of some of these kills and some of the things happening, it's like, yeah, this is for us. This is definitely a rental at home movie. I don't know how it would have done in the theater, but worked for me.
Right.
Saved me a couple bucks.
I am just color me shocked tonight. I thought for sure this is going to be a plot fest, but no, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
I think I like it.
Really, I only had a couple issues with it that we could talk about in spoilers, or we really don't even have to. I could just say that there's some character stuff towards the...
I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of spoilers. And Hunter, if you want to bail, that's fine. But there's a couple of things that'd be fun to kind of chat about.
So I do really want to watch this now. You guys just totally got me intrigued.
Like I told you guys earlier, it's going to be on Shudder in a couple of weeks. So if you can pay-per-view now, or if you can hold out and you have Shudder, it'll be on
100%
like in
worth
2 weeks or so.
Watching on Shudder. Yeah, that's good timing too.
Yeah.
But it was I don't mind paying for this one. I thought it was good, and I waited out Blackwater Vampire for like 5 years. So
don't you feel fulfilled now?
Oh, that's
worth
hilarious.
The wait.
This was one that I hadn't heard of until we were going to do this a couple weeks ago, weren't we? And then something else. I don't remember what happened that we ended up not doing it. I hadn't heard of it until you mentioned
it.
It's
been on the list.
And now this is all I'm seeing are people talking about this movie. So it's it seems like it's building a little bit of a presence online, and it's worth it. And I'm not trying to talk it up as some epic horror movie of the year kind of thing. Yeah,
the Gilgamesh of horror.
Might be that this year sucks. I don't know, but I enjoyed it.
Yes, that's going to say a weak year, but in a strong year, I still would have enjoyed this movie. But in a weak year, it's top 10.
Would it have made my top 10 last year? I don't think so, but it would have definitely been an honorable mention for sure. Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'm actually going to bail. I don't want it ruined. This is the first time this has ever happened.
Yeah, I think you should watch it. And I also, we're trying not to build you up too much on this. No, I think you're going to enjoy it. It's good kills.
It's a good modern slasher.
Tension, and
it is.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, cool. I'm in. I'm going to go downstairs and watch it now, and I'm going to try to stay awake. I better stay off the Benadryl and beer.
All right. If you can see Zombieland, that's going to be next week's movie.
Yeah, Zombieland 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Nothing but Twinkies.
So get your cardio, and
I'm going to tell you, man, like Sunday, my lone day off, I'm just going to look myself in the mirror and say, it's time to nut up or shut up. Get to the movies.
Could you hold your cell phone up to the mirror and record yourself doing that and post it before you go?
I could absolutely. Can I make a Vine? Do they still have Vines? I have no idea. I'm sure there's some way to embarrass myself.
I hope some of those Evil Dead Vines find you tonight.
Well, good, because I am out of remission. They can get what I got.
All right. Well, enjoy Haunt. Let us know what you think of it.
Yeah. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Spoiler time. If you don't want to be spoiled for Haunt, get out of Dodge.
See you.
Out.
I'm not going to mess with this and put us half and half on the screen because I don't know what it'll do to the audio. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to deal with a little bit of Frozen Hunter face in the corner. Oh, he's got a great expression, so that's good. Looks like he's having a stroke right when he signed out. That's great. Mm-hmm. Slowly. Yeah. I think they're saying we lost your audio? I don't know why that would be. Yeah, hang on a second. I don't know why him leaving would do that to you. I have to do a little editing. Let's see if this fixes it. Okay. Try saying something.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Okay. Well, hopefully that'll fix it. Okay, I think we should be good to go again. So, hit me with your what you liked about it again, the unnerving part.
Okay, the girl reaches her arm into this thing where we're supposed to feel the body part. She was looking for a ring she dropped, and then she pulls it out because she feels something, and she has been cut with a straight razor several times, and the wounds just like slowly open up.
Yeah,
and you just see the look of terror on her face, and then she is slowly like bleeding out and kind of losing her strength.
Yeah,
for the rest of the movie.
She ended up looking anemic too. They must have put a bunch of makeup on her too. It was a good effect.
Yeah, and I just thought that was creepy as anything, like, and really clever because so many people would have like just chopped her arm off or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but if like that happened to you, you would just be freaking the hell out.
Yep, and that exact thing is what I loved about so many different parts of this. You expect somebody's hand to get cut off. You expect this to happen. You expect someone to jump out, and they really don't do what you expect them to do most of the time. Or they make you wait so long that you think the moment has passed and it's not actually going to happen. So they did a good job.
So the one girl keeps saying that she's afraid of spiders. And so you're like, oh, there's going to be something. And then they go in and there's real spiders on the web.
Mm-hmm. And
you're like, oh my God, that would freak me the hell out already. Then she gets into that crate thing and then it looks like a giant spider's crawling in, and then a bunch of spiders are like poured on her, but it turns out they're like rubber spiders.
Yeah,
I was surprised that was the last we saw of spiders.
That's true. I hadn't really thought about that.
I thought like, okay, they duped us once, there's more spiders coming. And actually I thought at the end though, I was like, there's a lot of like over the top stuff in this, but I still don't think they went crazy with like Saw, like
no, definitely not
contraptions. There's one or two things that were a little bit out of the norm, but by the time you get to that part of the movie, I thought if there was more of that front loaded, it might have just turned into like this is too gimmicky. I don't know if I buy it.
So what you're talking about is exactly where my issue started. And it's mainly around the main character. I can't think of her name, the final girl. She steps on a nail that goes way deep in her foot and does not limp again for the rest of the movie.
Yes, and she rips her hands off.
Rips her palms off. No issue. Opening things, doing anything the rest of the movie. That bothered the hell out of me.
There's one point where she does it, but it's like a dream sequence.
Yep.
At the end, because I'm going, she is not limping at all. But when she drops off the guy at the hospital, it turned out it was a dream sequence because I'm going, she dropped the guy at the hospital. Why isn't she staying at the hospital?
Yeah.
And then it turns out she was there. So they rescued themselves.
Yeah. So she accumulated a ton of damage that did not bother her in the slightest. I mean, she gets shot. She's dragging herself for 5 feet. And then after that, she's in fights and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And so that bothered me. And some issues like that crept up, and they were all at the end. They were all in about a 15-minute period, and I started thinking, oh no, they're starting to ruin it. And then it's for the most part smoothed out. But I almost wondered if there were some cuts or some reshoots in there or something, because it just didn't feel consistent with the rest of the movie. You're just talking about the character's arm was cut up. She was ashen and messed up the rest of the movie. This woman steps on a nail and is completely fine. So it made me wonder if there was something going on there.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, if you step on a nail, you're done.
You tear your palms off, you can't do anything with your hands.
Yeah.
So, a couple things like that. But I enjoyed when they were fighting back towards the end. I thought they did some cool stuff there with the machete and the hammer and things you don't always see. And that the slasher characters weren't unstoppable forces. Like, in fact, wasn't even that hard to fight back. Thought that was all right.
There were a bunch of freak shows, though. Oh my gosh!
And that's my favorite part of this. The simplicity of the movie is what keeps it going, but they hint at this weird subculture of these people messing with their own faces, and there's some kind of cult of them or something.
Yeah, they cut off their victims' faces or something.
Yeah.
Like
they're all they've mutilated themselves to where their face are way scarier than the masks they wear. So I liked all that stuff peppered through, and it would be interesting to find out what the deal is with that. If they were to ever do a sequel, I don't know that they would, but I don't know that they could.
They had that menace of the strangers with those masks, but then when they did take off the masks, that was like a good payoff.
It really was
for it. And that guy Mitch, that's the only character name I can remember was the bad guy Mitch. I loved what they did with him because you always knew. You're like, nah, there's something up with this guy. There's something up with this guy.
Yeah, that was part really well done and part annoyed me. This dude shows up and take your mask off, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
And you don't make him, that's not really working for me. And honestly, my only other issue was the fat friend who was supposed to be, I guess, the comic relief, but became this really aggressive, trying to be intimidating guy. That didn't really work for me because this guy, really, it wasn't awful. It didn't, ruin anything, but he was the only character that didn't fully work for me. I thought the rest of it was done really well.
I thought he was okay because he started off as really obnoxious and all that, but it was almost like once the reality of what was happening, he went from being the barroom jerk to we got to get the hell out of here. I got to be serious.
True.
So I could ride with it. I actually thought I got a kick out of the fact that there was this subplot of the abusive boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking that he was going to come in and wreak some havoc. And it turns out he was the writer's way of getting them a ride out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good point. They could have done a little more with that, because that was another thing I didn't understand. This guy finds her and just leaves his car in the middle of the road with the door open. With the keys in it. Yeah, running. Nobody does that. Nobody. He didn't even know she was in danger.
And she saw his body. She could have easily just run over, freaked out, and then maybe the guy with her goes, grab his keys.
Exactly. What they ended up doing with that did not make any sense.
Even have him have one of those wallets where you have your keys on a chain or something.
He seemed douchey enough to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things, too. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. What?
He gets nailed with a bolt in his neck. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really well done. And when he was pulling it out, I was like, don't do that. And then he does it. Yeah, so it was more writing stuff that kind of bothered me than anything else, but it doesn't ruin it.
It's not perfect, but it's suitable, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, like I said, I would prefer if we had watched it on Shudder and not paid anything, but I have no regrets of renting it. I would actually tell people, you want to watch something tonight, this is a good watch.
Yeah, if it wasn't coming to Shudder, I'd 100% recommend people dropping a few bucks. And even, it's not the worst thing to give movies like this, a little bit of your money, because I want these guys to keep doing stuff. And they are Scott Beck and Brian Woods are the writers and directors. And they wrote A Quiet Place. And...
Oh, see, that explains it.
Yeah, and then they wrote and maybe directed a movie I saw a couple years ago called Nightlight. Yeah, they wrote and directed that, which was a found footage movie in the woods where they all are. But it was definitely a cut above some of the others. You can see these guys, their ability growing through these movies. It's kind of cool. So we might have a kind of budding writing, directing crew here that's going to do some great stuff. Not that they, I mean, A Quiet Place they already did, but yeah, that's cool.
That reminds me, speaking of Shudder, I took your advice. I found the Shudder app, downloaded it, got the free trial, checked it out, and then I went and looked. I had paid for Shudder for a year, and my subscription was running out next month.
Oh, perfect.
So I was able to just cancel and added Shudder. So now I have Shudder with the live channel and the whole interface and stuff like that. So
works so much better, doesn't it?
It's I'm getting used to it because I definitely like the fact that there's categories and stuff that you can look up things for. And the live channel, I probably am not going to use it a ton, but what it like pieces or something like that. I forget what the hell is on. It's almost like just like you could watch 5 minutes of a movie and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna mark this down. I want to watch this. Or nope, you know what? I saw enough. I don't need to watch this one.
Yeah. The live stuff I really only use for Joe Bob, but it's just cool that they have it. It's maybe something that would be good to just throw on Halloween in the background. You know, you don't even know what it would be. So,
exactly. Yeah. But it's cool. So thank you for the advice, because I was like, oh, here I go. And I was all nervous. Like I was like, oh, do I have to cancel? You can reactivate the other one anytime you want. So it's like there's not really any downside to this. So
I went through the same thing when I switched over. I was like, oh, I don't know. I think I ended up paying for 2 months on Amazon and on the app because when Joe Bob came out. But it's worth it. It makes it easier.
Yeah, there's
to find
a couple
stuff.
of weeks of crossover, but I prefer to just pay for the whole year.
That's what I do. I only pay $4 a month, which is nuts.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Haunt, and next week we're doing Zombieland 2. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. I did see, was it Pam posted in the Final Guys Horror Cult Facebook group, which if you want to talk to us is an easy way to do it. She posted some new featurette or something that I watched against my better judgment, and I'm glad I did, because it made me more interested for the movie than the last trailer I'd seen, which didn't do a whole lot for me.
Oh, I actually avoided it. I avoided that video because I didn't want it, but if it's worth watching, I'll watch it.
Well, I mean, if we're going anyway, so
yeah.
I probably wouldn't spoil it, but I was not looking forward to this movie, and now I kind of am. So, fingers crossed.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, so I guess see you next week.
Yep. See you for Zombieland 2, people. Have a good one.